Hello, hello. Welcome to Hood Healing. This is your host, Lydia with a Y.
And Lydia with the I.
We are here today to talk about deal breakers, heartbreakers, and all that messed up shit. Yeah. So anyhow, we're both married. And we were talking recently about like what's a deal breaker, like, you know, if you've run into bumps in the road of a marriage, like how do you heal from that? How do you work through that? So anyhow, yeah.
Divorce
Have you ever been a
is
cheater?
not an option.
Have you ever, like, before you were married?
Jesus Christ.
No,
hit me with the question right away. Fuck.
Have you been a cheater or a cheated on?
Yes.
Both? No. You've been a cheater.
Yeah.
Oh.
But like I said, I'm not gonna spill, I'm not gonna spill Susie's dirt, but I mean we've both hurt each other in the past. You know what I'm saying? Like
when you guys were like young and dating.
Like we're far from that, but I'm saying like we both, like she always talks, she said that too. She's like, we both had our share of fun. We both hurt each other. She's like, and we're past all that. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah. Well, when you're like 19, 20 and 21, you know, like people do that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Like, but I know people that were like serial cheaters. And when they got married, I was like, damn girl, you better get the prenup. But then they've just been like, you know, they just settled down.
Yeah. But you know what's crazy? Like, and I think I said this to Susan. If I didn't, well, she's going to hear it on the podcast. But, you know, someone real close to us, I think last year, she got hurt. Well, it was, you know, I don't want to give out the name because I don't know if she, well, yeah, I'm going to throw it out there because she's doing a lot better and she's not engaged. But, when my sister-in-law, got cheated on by her fucking ugly ass DJ boyfriend, fucking YouTuber, fucking chiclet teeth.
Sorry, that was fat phobic, but he's, I don't know. We were just trying to insult him because he is a piece of crap.
He was a piece of shit. I mean, I really liked him, but he really fucked her over. You know what I'm saying? But I think when he fucked her over and I saw someone close to me, maybe it's because I haven't really seen anyone close to me get like played or anything like that, but you know, it's obviously he was already talking to someone when he was with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think seeing seeing someone that you love, you know what I'm saying, get hurt and cry, you know, and like she went through her days, you know what I'm saying? Like where she was really hurt and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think seeing her made me feel bad for being a piece of shit, like when back in the days.
Well, I mean, I think it's hard because when we're young, we don't know how to communicate our needs in relationships.
Yeah, but I really like fucking hurt people. And like, honestly, like now, and maybe therapy's helping me too, you know what I'm saying? But like, I felt like such a piece of shit. Like, I really felt like, fuck, like you were a fucking asshole.
Okay,
like,
well, I'm going to stop you there right there because your behavior was not nice and not good, but it doesn't mean that you're a piece of shit.
Okay, well, I was an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy because when you're young and dumb, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you don't care who you're hurting, you know what I'm saying? Like, at the time, you know what I mean?
But it has to do with, like, emotional maturity. Like, when you're mature enough to say, like, this relationship isn't meeting my needs right now, so I'm going to move on. It's a hard conversation. Yeah. So when we're young, a lot of us are like, peace. Like, I have literally, okay, I want to lay my shit bare. This is kind of mean. I dated somebody very, very briefly. It was like almost, I was like, who was I telling this story to? It was like a sugar daddy situation where I was like an older man. He had kids.
No, what the fuck?
Girl, I was like, this is way before Frank. I was very young in my 20s, very early in my 20s.
You're a sugar baby.
I was kind of. Anyways, he was like really trying to get a mom for his kids. And I was like, I'm moving to New York City.
So you lied?
I totally lied.
Watch him be listening to the podcast.
And I'm sure those kids are like in their 20s now, so I'm sure they probably are. And then this fool was like, tell me what days I can come out, fly out to New York to visit you.
What the fuck?
I was like, I don't think a long distance relationship is going to last. And, so, but that was like so stupid. And he had kids and they, it's like, that was so mean and immature. Like I should have just been like, I just don't think I want to be in a relationship with somebody that has this responsibility. I'm 22 years old. Like I'm not about this life. But when we're that age, like we're still discovering ourselves. So we do stuff like that, and yes, we have to recognize like, yeah, that was not nice stuff.
But it's crazy because I never recognized it. I mean, I was always like, man, whatever, like it already happened, you know what I'm saying? But I think seeing her hurt and like, cause she used to live with us, you know what I'm saying? Like, and seeing her hurt and stuff like that, I think that really hurt me. And I was like, fuck, dude, like, I've been that asshole before, you know what I'm saying? Like, but she's good now. I mean, she's engaged. She just got engaged.
Congratulations
to her and Justin. This guy, you can tell here, I don't know him, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know him, like, cause I mean, she's been on her own with this relationship, but I mean, he looks like he really does love her, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it looks like they're a good match and they really, truly do like what I've seen anyways. Cause like, again, I really don't. I haven't had I've only met him once, but, just, what I see on social media is he's always like, putting a lot of stuff out there about how much he cares. And I think it's like reciprocal, like, and I think that's also another thing, like the last relationship, like I would see her post stuff about her man and I don't know if he'd post stuff about her, but the way that her fiance does, it really shows like he's really into her and she's the same. So I think that's really nice. That she's able to, find love. When one thing falls apart, another thing comes together.
Amen.
Isn't that what they say?
And that, I mean, she's better off with this guy anyways. I mean, it looks like this guy gets her out of her comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's cool for her. Like I said, I don't know anything about him, you know what I mean? But I mean, he's part of the family now, so I'm gonna get to know him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think I never felt that way. Like I never felt bad for hurting people. You know what I'm saying? Until I saw her hurt. You know what I mean?
You better hope that Benita
no, hell, ain't no one gonna hurt my baby girl. I'm gonna make sure of that.
You're gonna be the new romper stomper. You're gonna be fucking pulling people out of their cars.
Shout out to the romper stomper, dude. Have you see that video?
Oh my gosh, that would have been me in my old days.
God. That was Susie. Now. That's Susie right there. Susie's
not now after therapy.
Susie's the romper stomper. She ain't the romper stomper no more.
You better not let her hear that.
I tell her too. She's like, "Shut up! I'm a changed woman."
It's like, I'm a mom. I'm gonna be a mom. That's what she says.
But yeah.
But so I think we were just like, I don't even know how we got on the subject. We have ESP with each other, and I was like, yeah, let's talk about this because I think that's, like something that a lot of people always see as like such a negative is like this idea of like being cheated on, cheating, or like other deal breakers in a relationship. And like, especially when you're married, it's a huge commitment and it's not easy to say like, okay, I'm done with this. Like a lot of times we have all these entanglements with each other that you have to think about. And anyhow, but, so my parents got divorced when I was 22. And they probably should have got divorced when I was 3 years old, to be honest.
Yeah.
And my dad did cheat on my mom several times. Like one time for sure when she was pregnant with my youngest sister. Another time I answered the phone, and back in the 80s, this is for the youngins, when you had corded phones. Like if you had two phones in the house, you could hear what the other person on the phone and they wouldn't really know. Sometimes if you talked, they could hear you, right? And a lady was calling the house and was like, your husband's cheating on you with my friend. And my mom was like, who is this? I don't know if that was true or not, because there was this crazy woman that, the I heard this whole story. My mom told me like later as an adult, but there was this like crazy lady that was trying to start some dramas and shit because her husband like worked with him. And I guess my dad like gave him some advice about his life and she didn't like it. So, and then when my parents' marriage finally ended, it was because he had cheated on my mom with his friend's wife.
Holy shit, damn.
Yeah. And that was like very traumatic for all of us because it was like at a time in my life where it was like I was just going out on my own. And, so whenever I would meet people, I would be like, well, I don't need. And I remember like my mom was always like, make sure you never rely on a man. Because my mom was a stay-at-home for so long. I mean, she got a job when we got older, so she, was able to support herself after the divorce, but it was very hard for her. Like, this bro is really trying to mow his lawn right now.
Oh my God.
So, she was like, able to really support herself and everything. But it's just, it's something that you hope not to ever go through. Like, I think on the other hand of it, it's like, when you get married to someone, you kind of have to say like, okay, is monogamy going to be part of our marriage? Because I think we just assume that when you get married to someone, you're going to be monogamous. And there's just some people out there who want to start a life with people, want to buy a house with them, have kids, but maybe they still want to have sex with other people. And girl, that's on them. That's their, that's their own, like what, if that floats your boat. But I think it's important to have that open communication. I mean, when we've been married, we just celebrated our anniversary, our 22nd anniversary.
You need clapping hands.
We do. Because the last 2 years have been a little rough. But I literally, like, last year sat down and I told Frank, like, do you ever want to have sex with other people? And he was like, what? Like, all, like, shocked. And I'm like, I'm legitimately asking you this because, like, we have been together for so long. Like, sometimes, I mean, I would
never ask that question in my damn life.
Well, I think to me, it was just like checking in, like, cause I literally said this and a lot of people think I'm so crazy for asking this question, but I was like, if that's something that you need to do, like, there's sometimes people need to do that.
So you would let him go have sex with someone else and then come back to you?
I don't know if I would do that.
I think that's a test. It's like those tests that people do. Hey, can I go out with my friends? And you're like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. And then when they leave, they go, you fucking kidding me? You left for real? Are you serious?
And I'm like, you've slept with someone else and slash your tires now. No, but I mean, I legitimately asked that question because I was like, is this marriage still working for you? Like, I literally wanted to know that. And, that was like, we're just having a lot of issues that I literally had to say that. Like, are you still happy in this relationship? And it's like, we can still be friends and we can still be close, but sometimes like your marriage just, it's like, it hits the end of the road. And,
how long have you guys been together for?
22 years. Cause we literally got married like 9 months after we met each other.
Yeah.
So we were not together for years and years before. So like literally we got married like right out of the gate. And so
what was his answer?
He was like, no, I don't want to be with anyone else.
He didn't want to ask you that question.
And I'm like, because you're going to have to create your own logins for your page. He's like that. But also when you've not that you've invested time and you need to stick with somebody, but, one thing about us is like, even like when we've had our rough patches, like we've always had a really good friendship. Yeah. Like we really truly do enjoy being together. We enjoy doing stuff. We laugh almost every day, unless he really pisses me off. But, we have a really good foundation of like having a good friendship. It's like, yes, we have a romantic relationship and, all that stuff, but our friendship is like pretty strong. So to me, I always felt like even if like when we were having our rough times, and a lot of that had to do too with his family issues. I just felt like, is he always going to take out the fact that he is estranged from them, and part of the reason is because of me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I was like, if you wanted to be with somebody that your family could get along with, like, I would understand that. But obviously,
but it's not about the family though. It's about,
but he was so like close and so like enmeshed with them that this is why it's been so hard.
Hell no, my family ain't gonna give me what Susie gives me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm putting Susie first 110%. Huh?
Wow.
Susie got those big
saying.
boobies and that big booty. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean, obviously that's not the case for him, but I just, it's like you have to think about that when you love somebody. Like, is this going to work for you, like, long term? Are you ready to like sacrifice these things? But obviously we've had to do a lot of work, and I just think that's part of being in a relationship long term. Like, you just have to continually like communicate with each other about, how are you feeling about this? Like, is this still working? Because you can kind of get into like this rut of like, oh, we're just here, we're just watching TV every night, we're just eating dinner every night, we're just, but it's like, but am I really, is there other things? Is there other ways that we should be communicating stuff? Are there other opportunities for us to check in with each other? And I think that, especially when it comes to like mental health, it's like, how do we make sure we're both okay? And especially when you have a child in the mix.
yeah. Well, I think for me, like, I don't think divorce would be an option. I mean, I think I would try everything to try to save our relationship. You know what I'm saying? And then I think seeing my my voice almost cracked. Seeing my Lito and my Lita, you know what I'm saying? Like, how he would always put her first, you know what I'm saying? Like, how that was his world, and he was her world, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you would have never, like, I don't even know if they ever had problems, you know what I'm saying? Because they never showed in front of us, you know what I'm saying? Like, they, if they had problems or not. And if they did an awesome job at showing us that they were perfect, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think this goes for all the grandkids. Like, in our eyes, our grandparents are the real Romeo and Juliet, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were
Romeo and Juliet both died.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, the love, like
they really
like,
loved
like
each
the
other.
perfect love story, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you're right now, Romeo and Juliet. They just had the perfect love story, you know what I mean? And like, it's like, I see how my Lito was with Lita, and I try to be the same way with Susie, you know what I'm saying? Like, I try to do whatever it takes to keep Susie happy, you know what I mean? Like, I don't ever want her to, there was a coworker who asked me this question like a while back, and I remember I came home and I was talking to her. Like, one of my coworkers said that his wife told him that she was no longer making her happy at home, so she wanted him to know that she was liking the attention she was getting from a coworker. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
And I fucking told Susie, like, if you ever like get to that point, like, don't take me for a fool, you know what I'm saying? Like, just tell me, be honest with me, tell me you don't want to be with me no more. And I think that's how we both have always been, like, hey, if you don't want to be with me, just tell me and then we'll leave, you know what I'm saying?
Or just communicate, like, maybe we need to spend more quality time together, or maybe I need this or that, because I think that was one of the issues that we had, was that, I'm very independent.
Yeah, Susie too.
And, it's part of my trauma response. Like, I'll do it myself because I'm not, it's like, I can't rely on other people to do it, kind of deal. But, so I'm kind of like, I don't need someone to tell me every day, you're beautiful, or bring flowers. Like, I'm not that kind of woman, which for some men, that's probably a dream.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I'm good. Like, I feel good about myself because that's because I do. And I think that for him, he needed more of the, you're doing a great job, or you look good, or this or that, or like just the words of affirmation. We did the love languages, and you can just like imagine his was like physical touch, of course. This man was like an octopus. I'm like, sometimes I just want you to be groping me, man.
Yeah, I was the same way. I think Susie got she's independent, she's good. Like I think she got the same one.
Mine's is act of service. So like when people do stuff for me, like I'm like, okay, great, that's so nice. And he sometimes will like be like, I don't want to do it. So
yeah,
I think that was kind of like we have to like both like give in a little when it comes to that, so that we can, so he so I try really hard. Like he'll text me, he would be like, I love you, I hope you're having a great day, blah blah blah, and I'd be like, thanks.
Fucking lawn guy, dude. This fool never mows his lawn ever.
Well, all of a sudden he fucking wants to be. He's like, you're doing your podcast, and so I have to really be thoughtful about that, and I have to like make sure that like but again, I think we have to communicate those things to each other in a relationship.
Yeah, because before the podcast, we were talking about. I think we were talking about last night or the other night, and we were talking about the podcast, and I told her, like, for me, I don't think divorce would be an option. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I would do whatever it takes to try to save the relationship. Even more now with the child. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that we're going to have problems with the child, but I feel like staying together, not just for the child, but it would be nice for the child to have both moms. You know what I mean? I'm not saying something's going to go down, but if it were to go down, like, I think, because I don't know, like, my heart hurts for those people who have to go drop off their kid at their dad's house or at their mom's house, and then have to get picked up later, or
if you have a partner that's worth, like, that is not worth, but if you have a partner who is like willing to work on the relationship, I think that's like, every marriage goes through rough patches. Like being married this long, like we've definitely had our rough times, and there's been points where I'm like, maybe this is not like gonna work out because, I just think that there was a lot of stuff that we both needed to work out for ourselves. But now that like, we're both in therapy, we both have like these tools we can use, like, and yes, it's like when you've invested so much in creating this family together, and you love each other, and you're willing to like both come into it, it's like you really have to humble yourself when you're married.
Yeah.
You got to be like, yeah, I do some shit that's fucked up. You do some shit that's fucked up. We got to figure this out, because I think when there starts to be these things that you do to each other that are disrespectful or that are hurtful, then it's like, what is the point of being in a marriage with each other? And I think in terms of like deal breakers, seeing my mom getting cheated on, I always said cheating.
I think now if I heard she cheated on me or something like that, then now I'd be like, okay, like, we're done. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's why I think we tell each other, like, if you're not happy, then say something. You know what I mean? Like, you'll go your way, I'll go my way. You know what I mean? At least that's what we would say before the baby. You know what I'm saying? But now with the baby, I feel like I think we're in a good place. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see.
Well, when I was in high school, I got cheated on. I caught him red-handed, and I still stayed with him because I was fucking 16 years old thinking, and I'm like, how toxic when you're young, like that kind of stuff where you're just like, and I remember I broke up with him, and I was like, I don't think this is, well, actually after the fact, like, he did his shit and he was not a good boyfriend. And I remember I was like, I don't think this is working out. And then he found out like that I was seeing someone else. He was like all up in my shit again. I'm like, motherfucker, he's, but so I used to always like, after that experience that my mom had, like, I was always like, it's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
But, you know, now that I've like, you know, been married and have a kid, I'm like, well, I wonder like what all of the circumstances would be. 'Cause to say like, that's it, it's done. It's just like, you know, well, what could we work through? 'Cause I do feel like, it's so complicated. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the moment, it's easy to say it when you don't have the experience, but when you do have the experience, you're kind of like, am I willing to like really dismantle this family? Or is this like just done? You know?
It's a tough one.
It is tough. But also, I think if there's a point in our, like, you know, in any relationship really, where you're just doing stuff to hurt each other or you're trying to hurt the other person, it's like, well, why are you in this relationship? If you're not, if, like, I will say pretty much every day I feel happy to be married, minus the rough things we've had. But I mean, you know, like, I'm happy and proud of the family that we've built together, and, you know, like all the work we've done individually and together.
I think if you know mine and Susie's like past, or at least mine, like we've come a long way, both of us. You know what I'm saying? Like we have a house together now. We have a child coming into the world soon. Like we both had our, you know, our party days. We both hurt each other, like I said earlier. So I think that, do I see myself with someone else, or could I see myself with someone else? No, not at all.
I would not accept them.
You would have no
I'd be
choice.
like, who the fuck is this hoe?
No, I think I don't see myself with anyone else. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I, like I said, I think that if it came down to it where we were having a lot of problems, like I think we would go to therapy together. Even if she didn't want to, like I'd drag her to therapy. You know what I'm saying? Like try to work out our issues, our problems. You know, and I think that we've gotten a lot better with that too. Like whenever something's bothering us, like we sit down and we talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm more of the like, I'll try to mess around and try to like, you know, like kind of brush off the issue. No, she wants to talk about it. You know what I mean? So I think that we would talk things out and try to work things out. Cause I don't think divorce would be okay with me.
Yeah. I mean, I think it should be a last resort. If you're
But I would never ask her if she would have sex with someone else. I don't know how the fuck you can say that. I would never, dude. I would have a shotgun right on the table and I'd be like, answer this question right now.
I was just asking because I feel like, you know, like when you've been with someone for so long, you're like, is this still working for you? Like, I feel like it's a legitimate
and if it's not,
question.
girl, fucking spice up spice it up, girl. Get some toys in there, put a toy up his butt or something.
Oh, you got the wrong one. I'm gonna come in with a clown
so paranoid, huh? He's so paranoid when you go near his butt.
No, but you know, I think one thing when I was like young before I met Frank, I remember like I was literally, I don't even know why I did this. My friends and I think we're talking about it. So we were writing down, what are your deal breakers? Like, you know, and it's like if someone didn't like cats or whatever. Well, actually, I did date someone who hated cats, and that did not work out, obviously, because I love animals dearly. And one thing was if someone was homophobic, like I could not be with somebody that was like homophobic. And
I remember you asked Frank, right, if he was homophobic.
Oh yeah, I was like, "Are you homophobic?" Because I ain't
She's like, "No, I'm gay."
I ain't about to invest my time into somebody that's gonna say some off the wall shit. But one of my friends was with someone that was very homophobic, and I was like, I do not know how you can even like stand to be around someone like that.
I don't know how this world has homophobic people, like for real. Like Gay people don't even do anything. Like, we mind our own business, dude. Like,
I know. Like, I don't get it whatsoever.
What's a deal breaker for me? I think cheating.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely
I've come a long way. I don't like to talk about my past either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't live there no more. But I think cheating would be a deal breaker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now you're in a committed relationship and you're grown.
We're married now.
You're a grown woman.
With the baby inside.
With the baby coming. And so it's different. Like you just mature and you're like, hey man, I can't be doing that shit. And I mean, I really was more of a casual dater. I didn't have a lot of like serious boyfriends, and I never cheated on anyone I was seriously dating. And I don't think I think I saw two guys at one time.
Yeah, girl. Get in there.
It was my single days. Did they know about each other? I think one knew about the other, but whatever. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like that was my boyfriend or anything, but I've never been the cheater, but I have been cheated on. And let me just say that the person that cheated on me in high school had got their karma.
Why did that cheat on?
Bad.
That scares me. Karma scares me.
Wow.
Everything scares me though.
I think there's a whole lot of other shit that he had done to other people. So
I know some people that need karma.
Girl.
It's going to catch up to those people who need. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah.
Well, it is what it is. That's what I always say. I have, however, been so I have a really, I don't know, it's not funny because a marriage ended because of it, but a story about catching a cheater, basically. So this girl that I knew from a baby group that I had joined.
The baby group.
Like when I had Mateo and I took him to like it was like a little mom group where you bring your babies and to meet other babies and stuff. Anyways, so we would do like meetups every so often, but we also did it was like an online, like a Facebook group, right? So everyone would be like, hey, and a couple of the girls I got close to and I would talk to often on the little group, whatever. And one night I was working because I used to work at night, 3 nights a week as my side hustle. And all I did was watch Netflix and, be on this little board with all the other moms and be like, what's going on? And so one night, one of the moms messages me and is like, oh my gosh, I think my husband is cheating on me. And I was oh girl, Facebook detective, ready for duty. So I she's like, can you, I went on our computer and I found this. Can you, so he had went on, have you ever heard of this website called Ashley Madison?
No.
It's literally for people to cheat. It's like Tinder for cheating people. So people put their profiles and they go and they they do their duty. They meet each other and then they do their little hookups, whatever. So anyhow, she goes to, she goes on her computer and she finds this website and she finds it's no profiles logged in, but it comes up. So she's like, I think he has a profile on there. Can you create one and then sign in and see if you find him?
Did you have to put your picture on there?
Oh, we put a fake picture. Okay. I just did an internet search, so I'm sorry, Debbie, whoever Debbie is. I just put some random Google picture I put. Anyhow, so I created a profile and so I tell her oh, blah, blah, blah. So she's like, oh.
So you guys found him on there?
We found him on there and she's like, start messaging him. And I was like, girl, I ain't trying to be messaging your husband. So she, I gave her the login, but she's like, he's going to know it's me. So what should I say? So I'm messaging her on the side. And this was Yahoo Messenger days. Okay. I'm say this. And then she's pasting it into the chat or to message there. So then she's like, oh, I'm going to confront him. I told him to meet me. So I'm going to have him meet, and he's sending, and by the way, he's sending her pictures, like, of his penis pictures. So she's like, telling me like what's going on, and I'm like deep into it now. I'm like, girl, I'm like solely invested in this whole scheme.
So you saw his penis?
No, I didn't see the pictures, thankfully. Because I was like, I ain't trying to be looking at your husband's wiener. Sorry. So anyways, I'm going through whatever. And then she's like, I told him to meet me. He doesn't know what you look like. Because I'd never met him. I'd only met her.
Holy shit, did Frank know about this? Because if he doesn't,
I told him. He knows the story. So she's like, can you go to the restaurant and see if he'll... And then I'm like, he's the person in the picture. She's like, just go with me. And then you can go in the restaurant and kind of see if if he shows up.
Holy shit.
So here I am sitting in the freaking restaurant by myself. And she's like, I'm going to confront him in the parking lot. So she, I'm just like sitting where, you wait to get seated. And I'm like, I don't, and then I see him walk in and I'm like, I'm texting her like, he's here. She's like, oh my God. She's like, I'm going to tell him I have a flat tire, so he'll rush out. So you see him walk into the restaurant, look around like he's looking for this girl, like, and then all of a sudden look at his phone and like rush out. So I was like, oh shit. So like I walk out and I'm like, I'm not going to go like be all up in the business, but I want to see from afar, like what's going on. Cause I am deeply invested in this dramas. So I go out and he had a backpack with him. So she's like hitting him, yelling at him, cussing him out. She's like, and he rode a motorcycle. So he was on a motorcycle. So she grabs the backpack and opens it and like stuff falls out and it's like condoms and like there was like a freaking vibrator.
What the fuck?
Like, did he really think he really thought he was going to get crazy in BJ's or something? So he took off and I went over there. I was like, I want to make sure she's okay. I'm like, don't chase him. Like,
let him go.
You need to calm down. Cause she was like crying and stuff. I always felt so terrible for her. Like I was like, what the fuck? And, so anyhow, they ended up getting a divorce. And I think that probably wasn't the only time he had done that to her, but
like that one sick dude, remember we were telling you about that we saw on there was a show about him. I think he was like a Marine or something like that who fucking had sex with all these girls.
Oh gosh. The one who, he was a high school teacher. The one on Hulu.
Nasty fool. He fucking even gave his wife like
STDs and stuff. He was like messaging like 100 women on Facebook or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know like the extent of what he did, but it was pretty crazy. And that was my first Facebook detective case that was cracked. And
so if anybody needs Lydia with the Y to be a detective, please DM us on Instagram.
There's a girl on Instagram who people pay to start messaging their like husbands and boyfriends.
Or something like that on
to
TikTok.
See if they're going to respond. And I'm like,
you're stupid
if you got to do that, like, I get it. If you've had, I don't know, if you've had experiences like that, but to me, I'm like,
when you get a request from someone who only has like 10 friends or 5 friends.
Well, not only that, but like if you are testing your man or your partner like that, like you need to work on like why you're not trusting them enough. Yeah. Like to me, I mean, we've had our issues and stuff like that, but I'm like, I'm going to trust you because we've worked on that. But the minute you lose my trust,
you're done.
I'm going to be like Beyonce. It's going to be like Lemonade, except the ending of this story is that I will be on my own. I will be out there in Newport Beach trying to find me a sugar daddy because my second marriage will be for money, not for love.
Oh shit.
I'm going to find the oldest, richest man in there, 75 years old with a bad heart.
With a bad heart.
And I'm about to be having a $7 million house on the beach.
That's great.
And have my little boyfriend on the side. Just kidding. But, I mean, and it's just, I think when you are married for a long time or with someone for a long time, like, I think you do have to always check in because, like, we evolve as people, we change, we grow.
I think that's something we need to do a lot too. Like, we'll check in with each other, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
we'll ask each other, like, are you okay? Are you happy? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I say, yes, ma'am, I'm happy.
She's going to be like,
I'm not.
you snore too much.
Hey, I don't snore right now.
Well, yeah.
I used to snore, not anymore.
But too, you know, I think it is important to check in with each other because, you know, imagine if our parents did that stuff, we would not be as fucked up as we
If they checked up with each other?
Yeah, saying like, are you happy? Or I don't know about your folks, but my parents got married because my mom got pregnant.
I think my dad loved my mom when they got together.
Yeah, and I just think my parents thought they had to get married. I don't think my dad I think my dad, there's this thing, it's called like the mother wound and the father wound. And I know we were just talking about this, but it's like this idea that like, if you don't get your needs met by your mom or your dad, there's certain behaviors that
like daddy issues or mommy
kind of, yeah. I mean, and so I think my dad definitely had like the mother wound because I think he was always trying to feel like validated, you know. These two dogs are making out over here. They're a little bonded. Aw.
That's gross.
They're in love with each other. They love each other.
They're brothers and sisters.
I know, but they still love each other.
But they're little fishy.
They're not really related to each other.
I know. They are. They think they are.
Oh. But, you know, I think if we are like recognize like, okay, that's where the work needs to happen.
Yeah.
When you're in a relationship, I think it can definitely help you be able to communicate and recognize like those behaviors are like, what's driving that need for me to get attention from other people. I remember when I was younger, definitely, I think I had the father wound because my dad was very emotionally detached from us. I swear.
I don't understand. All of a sudden, everybody wants to be
all up in
this is how are you driving that fast in a fucking bus?
I know. There's a school bus that just decided to rev past the house.
And then the fucking neighbor cutting their stupid ass grass. Cuts it.
And now there's a motorcycle. I swear. Everybody's like wanting to bust.
And now my brother-in-law's calling me.
But definitely, I think when you have like those wounds, you definitely have to figure out like, okay, you know, where do I need the healing to happen? The holistic psychologist is one of the accounts that we follow that always has some really good information. But there's one other account that I follow that I think is really interesting. But they talk about like the mother wound, like what is that? And you know, how do you heal that? I know moms get blamed for a lot of stuff, but I think that the relationships that we have with our like first primary caregiver can never like that can really affect us. And so this person is a psychologist, I believe, that posts things, and some of the things that can cause like a mother wound is invalidating your feelings, making fun of you, not standing up for you, bad mouthing you to other people, using money to sway your decisions, throwing your things away. I think that one's interesting. Using therapy to fix you, not believing you about your trauma, using time out, forced isolation, and not apologizing when needed. So I think those are like things that can really cause, you know, you to have like where you're constantly looking for almost like the replacement of a mom or dad. So like if your father's like has not made an attempt to have a stable, healthy attachment to you, then I think that like that's ways that we can seek that out. And, you know, so I think a lot of straight ladies tend to do that.
Yeah.
Where they're like jumping from man to man, always like looking for like the validation.
I know, it's crazy.
Because even if we have fathers that are physically present, there's fathers that are not emotionally present or they've been abusive. And so, you know, we'll do that. In my youth, I was like, you know,
jumping around
for sure. And I think that was part of it. And then, you know, like as I went to therapy and started to recognize, like, I don't need that validation. I have to find that validation in myself. Like, then I was like, I don't need y'all's. I saw a meme the other day. It said, bad news. I'm still attracted
Does your
to
mom
men.
listen to the podcast?
No, she doesn't want to hear all the things she's done wrong. She said,
Next time I see her, I'm gonna ask for her autograph. I'm gonna take my podcast shirt and have her sign it.
say thank you for creating so much content
No,
for us.
it's crazy. Like, cause you see your mom. I mean, you know, it's like people when they tell me, like my friends, like, you know, I see your mom and you guys have a good relationship, and it's like you see what is there. You know what I'm saying? When
Yeah,
you're here,
you see the best pieces.
but your mom is like she looks like such a sweetheart. That lady, dude, in love with the Warriors, and you know what I'm saying? Like, and your dad too. Like when you talk about your pops, you know, like I love Dale.
I know.
Dale's my friend.
I mean, and I love my parents, but I think that, you know, definitely there's that history that we have that it's hard when my dad has apologized to me. And I think that's why our relationship is
Better.
where it's at. It's better, a lot better. And I've told my mom the same things, and she's kind of been like, oh, I just think, you know, it's like really trying to invalidate it. And I think it's about just, you know, realizing that when you have to take accountability for that you've hurt someone, especially your kids that you love so much, you think you've done right by them. I think it's hard. I mean, it's hard for me to even apologize to my child when I'm like, yeah, I didn't do that right. That wasn't okay. It's hard. So I think that there's still a lot of feelings around that where it's like, I'm still telling you these things. I'm still telling you this behavior hurts me. And yet you're still doing it to me, which I think is like kind of like similar experience to you.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I still spend time with them. I know my mom wishes I probably would spend more time with her or call her every day. But for me, just to protect my own mental health, I don't.
Stay away.
You know? Because I can feel myself getting so triggered. Like she could just say something little and I'll just be like, ah. And I just think for both of us, it's good that I limit my time. I just know myself and I know her too.
And your mom and your dad are cool now?
And my parents get along, but they didn't talk for like 2 years after they got divorced. And my cousin got married and they were when my dad and mom got divorced, it did not end well. Like we basically were so disappointed with what he had done and angry that we were like, we're never talking to you again. And I mean, we were young, so that was like the reaction. We felt very protective over my mom because we kind of knew what she had been through with him, and he was not really just. It was just like a very toxic relationship. And so I like when they first got divorced, like for me, the way that it kind of came out was like, I was just very sad. Like I couldn't even talk about it because I would just start crying. My other sisters were angry. They were just like, fuck him, fuck this, you know, everything. And so we just, you know, finally we did talk to him. But it always felt like the relationship was still it took a few years to even get into a relationship where we could be in the same room with him. I think what really changed their relationship, because they would just be like, it was a whole lot of drama for like the first, you know, few years they were divorced. But when I got pregnant with Mateo, like I basically told them both, like, listen, this is the first grandchild. You guys are going to have to figure out how to be in the room together because I'm not having 2 birthdays. I'm not having 2 of everything.
So you can have them both together.
Yeah. So I said, you need to figure out how to be around each other. And so they did. And so now we celebrate like holidays all together. My mom and dad get along fine. Like, you know, they joke around. When he's at my sister's house, they'll eat dinner all together.
That's nice.
He'll come in, you know, and hang out talking with my mom and stuff. But, you know, he's had like, you know, long-term relationships in between that too. So it's not like I was like, if y'all ever got back together, I would literally disown both of you. Like, we went through hell when y'all got divorced. We don't need you all together. And they're so different. Like it's just not, I couldn't even imagine, but, you know, the fact that they get along now is just really good for us.
That's
like
good.
The children, you know, that we can actually be all together,
spend the holidays
all together. You know, I had really hoped my mom could find like another partner, but I think she was so hurt by it. She was like, I'd rather just be on my own, which is really, but I mean, then again too, it's like not everybody like wants that.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe
a lot of work.
Maybe you should just go out there and meet people and bam, bam, thank you, ma'am.
I'm like, girl, you need to go on the Silver Bachelor. Oh.
She find someone that likes the Warriors.
Oh gosh, she sure. I'm like, you need to find like a rich older man who could take care of you, or a rich younger man who could take care of her. My mom is high maintenance. We always, my aunts and my grandma always say she has champagne taste on a beer budget.
There you go.
Because she's all about the bougie. But you know, I feel like, you know, it feels really nice that they get along now. And I understand now as an adult, like, you know, at this point and it's crazy because I tell this to Frank all the time. I'm like, my mom literally got divorced when she was a little, like, around my age. And I just think like, shit, you know, like she has spent all these years alone without, like, you know, and I remember when she got divorced. Lynette was like, I kept telling Lynette, ooh, maybe mom will get remarried. We'll have a little brother. And she's like, she better not get another baby. My mom was like fucking 45 years old. I mean, she probably could have got pregnant, but she wasn't dating anybody. But yeah, so I mean, so I'd always tell Frank, like, I think about, you know, our lives and how different it looks than when my mom was this age. Like, you know, the way that we communicate in our family, the way that we spend time together, the way that we are in this relationship. Like, yeah, we could have got divorced 2 years ago because, you know, that would have been not even the easy way out, but it could have just been like, let's just keep the pattern going, you know? But we were like, we have to commit to like healing our own trauma and understanding how our trauma has affected us and how that's bleeding into our own relationship with each other and our relationship with our child. You know, what are we showing our child about being in a marriage with each other? So for us, we've always tried to be very respectful. Even, you know, there's been a couple of times where we've gotten into like not a full on argument, but just like bickering in front of our child, and our child will try to jump into it. And I'm like, this is between us. It has nothing to do with you. And he's gotten like, one time I was really kind of like mad because he was like, you need to stop talking to my dad like that.
Oh shit.
I was like, first of all, this is between your dad and I.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with you, because the other thing is this, you know, like there's so much context and history of our relationship that he knows nothing about. And so sometimes, you know, you get into those like conversations or disagreements where there's behaviors that have happened in the past that you're like referencing, but they don't know that. And so that's kind of what happened. And I was like, you know, I understand you are uncomfortable with this, because then when we got home, he was upset, you know, but we talked it out, and it's like, our parents would not have done that. It would have been like totally ignored. They would have just been like, shut up.
Yeah. Or slap you like, shut the.
Yeah. And that would have been it. Yeah. So I think that's the encouraging thing about doing things differently, is that like we, you know, every marriage or relationship goes through tough times.
Yeah. No one's perfect.
Yeah. And it's like people make mistakes and people do stupid shit and say dumb stuff and do hurtful things. But the key to it is like, how do we break the cycle? You know, whether that be you both go to therapy and you work on the issues that you have, you decide not to, you know, for some people, you know, divorce maybe is the best option for them because their growth is never going to come to a place where they can work together and make a family work seamlessly, or, you know, it's too far gone because of whatever's happened. But, you know, in any event, we're all responsible for ourselves and our behavior. So we have to heal that part of us, or we're going to continue to do the same things over and over again. And it's not fair to the person who is your partner, because they're the ones who feel the effects of it.
That was beautiful. Well, I'm happy you guys work things out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
because then we would never see Frank again. Just kidding.
You'd see Frank with his new Sancha.
What car? He can't get his bed back.
Oh, yeah.
He's all in the bike Dale gave him. That was so good. Well, now, bitch. You going?
You're not welcome here.
No.
You can't sit with us. Yeah. But, you know, I think everybody has their deal breakers. You know? Like, some people, I would see their relationship and be like, I would have been out of there. I would have been out of there, like, if I had been with someone that was disrespectful or, you know, abusive. Because, you know, sometimes you see these people that, like, their husbands, they'll literally be like, oh, so-and-so, she's a piece of shit. And I'm like, what? You talk about your wife like that? Like, that's fucking messed up.
Yeah.
That is messed up.
Or physical, too, you know, like getting physical and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's another break for me. Like, don't lay hands on me, because I would never lay hands on Susie ever.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a whopper stomper, you know what I'm saying? She'd kick my ass, but I
would have to jump over that fence if she came after you. You ain't calling me, pick me up.
No, but like, I can fight. Okay. I
believe it.
I mean, these big hands, you know what I'm saying? No, but I think that would be another breaker right there. Like, don't touch me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw a lot of that growing up, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not, no. Like, I would never hurt you, so don't touch me. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like, sometimes, you know, everybody has their deal breakers. And I mean, now it's like, can I really say exactly, like, some stuff? Yes, obviously, like, you know, obviously if, you know, I was getting physically abused or whatever, I would be, you know, really try to get out of that relationship. But at the same time, it's like, when you love somebody and if you have like really unhealthy patterns, sometimes people get so addicted to the unhealthy patterns, or that's all they know, and they think like, oh, well, this is love because my parents were married and this is how their marriage was. So it's like being able to recognize, like, this is not healthy. How are we gonna, I hate to say fix, because it sounds like it's like that's all you have to do is fix it and everything's okay. But like, you know, how do I work on these behaviors that are unhealthy? And how do I start to do things that are healthy so that I can really enjoy my relationship? Because I feel like sometimes I see these like people and they're just like roommates existing together. And it's like, marriage should be a joyful thing. Like, I see how you guys are with each other and how like loving you are to each other. And it's just like, that's how marriage should be, where you're, you know, like, yeah, you have the everyday kind of things that you do, but, you know, I think the way you treat each other is like so loving and respectful. I think that's where you can break those curses, right?
Yeah.
By just changing the way you exist in the day to day.
Like, I mean, I've seen people disrespect their partners, you know what I'm saying? Like, the way they talk to each other or talk about each other, and it's like, just go your separate ways, man. Like, why are you guys together? You know what I mean?
Especially if one of the partners doesn't want to work on themselves to really work through, or both of them, you know, it's like, well, girl, boy,
Yeah.
move along, or both go to therapy, because when you're just like in a relationship and you're just hurting each other, it just is like, what the fuck are y'all's doing out there, you know? But good talk.
Yeah. Another successful podcast.
I know. So hopefully this will give folks a little bit of information to chew on, because I think it's a good discussion. I think it's good to talk to your partners and check in and just say, like, you know, is the way that we're together, is this still working for us? Or like, what do we need to work on? What can we do to strengthen our relationship? Or, you know, those kinds of things. Because I think being in a marriage can be really hard, because, you know, you just have to be very thoughtful and intentional about like how you are with each other. But also it can be a really amazing experience. It can be a lot of like just joy and fun if you know, make sure that you're doing things that are making the relationship grow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us as we talked about deal breakers. Hopefully none of you have too many deal breakers in your relationship.
Detective, we got Lydia with the Y here, ready to
Facebook detective for hire.
Right. Or Instagram or TikTok detective.
Yes. And we will join you next week.
That's right.
And on our next podcast. So
hopefully
please,
cutting their grass, fucking cars.
Oh Lord. So subscribe, like, and also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Apple Podcasts.
That's right.
So we appreciate all the support, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.